Can be loud, noisy, like me. Um, I do a show every day live from the streets of Los Angeles. I can't go IRL because I don't have a phone number. Um, I'm homeless. Whatever I do, my bag's over here. You guys can go look. Now listen, go take a look. This is my budget right here, $5.49. Yeah, there it is. That's my budget. You get $6 per day on EBT, right? So I take my glasses off there. Shut up. It's early in the morning. I don't know what time it is. Ooh, let's see what time it's set on here. My receipt. Santa Monica Boulevard, West Hollywood, California. That's right. I always knew I was going to live in California and have my own show, and that's what I have right here. Thanks to you guys. I really appreciate it. We get about 10 new subscribers per month, it looks like. I don't know. I can't keep track. But you guys are subscribers. You can participate in the show. I come up with numerous ideas. I am able to write these all out, but I ran into some difficulties. I let you guys know about these difficulties, and you didn't do anything. I need help. $95 left until after July 4th, and that's a holiday weekend. And it'd be nice if, you know, the president, I mean, I don't know who's in charge of these things, if they gave us our money before the 4th of July. Wouldn't it be nice? They won't. It'll be after. Cheers to that, I guess. This is $5. Finally, it's on sale, and finally, it is better than what you would get. Like if I was gonna, well, actually, it's the same amount of money, I think. No, it's not. So technically, it's double, but you know, whatever. Yes. So where are we at, guys? Oh, I was gonna see what. I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Wednesday because they do the work in the park on a Wednesday. It's gonna be a noisy one, but I do appreciate being here. Let me break a little wind too while I'm at it. It's the 29th of the month. I don't know what that is. Whatever. Okay. So, I don't litter. You guys remember that episode? I was griping about getting yelled at for littering. I never really litter either. That was very strange that happened that day. Anyway, please stand by. I just cracked this. Look, if you can see, it's only up to here. I drank it down, guys. Oh, I feel so much better when I have some caffeine. Again, I talked about this before. It gets your synapses popping off. And it's really important. And I think you might want to consider thinking twice about having something that's going to make your synapses not pop off. Boy, I tell you, man, maybe I can put my glasses on. Yeah, man. I mean, there's a little reflection, but I can see myself. When I do my show, normally, I can't really see myself. And these are reading glasses. Like I said, I like driving for a living. I am a professional driver. I can pass a drug test. I got some sticky stuff on my arm. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Hey, yeah, this is Los Angeles. You can get sticky stuff anywhere. And sticky stuff is everywhere. I gotta kill it, guys. Oh, it's too good. All right, so in case you're a newbie and you're here for the first time, I'm writing the novelization for a television series, and the reason it has to be a television series is because it has music, okay? And the most important thing about the music and the show is that it takes place 200 years after Napoleon is born. And then 200 years after Napoleon is born, which is August 15th, 1769, Lionel is born. And the reason his name is Lionel is because he's Napoleon. Napoleon. He's born under the sign of Leo. Okay? This is very important. And he's born on the same day. And we're going to make fun of him because of, they're going to be calling him Lionel from Lionel Richie, Dancing on a Ceiling. And that's how they're going to make fun of him when he first starts his punk band. Because he's not going to be Lenny at that point. When he first starts a band, he's in a band called Urban Upset. And he has to get Roxy to come play with them to rehearse. And she comes over because she's friends with them. Because the other guys left to be in another band, right? And so, I'm sorry, just the one guy, his bass player, left to go be in another band. So, it's basically him and Freddie. And that's the way it was for me. It was me and a guy named Robert Rebant, who's allegedly dead. I don't know if Robert Rebant is even dead or not. That's how bad they were LARPing me on Facebook. And there was one person who actually told me about how they were coming through my device through the Facebook app. And I believe he did so begrudgingly. He only did so because maybe Bob was dead. I don't know. He didn't do it because he knew me for 30 fucking years. Certainly not. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cuss. Yeah, he didn't do it because he knew me for 30 years. He didn't do it because we played in the same band together. He didn't do it because, you know, he respected me for my work as a writer and a songwriter, because he's one too. Pretty sad business. In case you don't know, in 2018, they melted my brain. They ran ops on me, and I thought I was gonna die. These ops are being run right now on people like Amanda Bynes and Bam Margera. There are people using technology. This is a neurological stun gun, and that's what they used on me, and they used it nonstop. They goofed on me, and again, I put up with it for years. I'm 57. I'm 57 years old, and I'm harder, smarter, better, faster than any of these guys, okay? When I saw that the Trash Brats opened up for Kid Rock, I was really excited for the Trash Brats. I'm like, oh my God, that's great. You know what my last experience, and I sold one of the Trash Brats, my 1972 Cadillac hearse. I was proud to be part of the Detroit punk rock scene. But you know what the last experience with the Trash Brats is? Ricky Rat, he looks like a troll doll in Aquanet hairspray. He wouldn't even talk to me. The guy wouldn't even talk to me. They were running ops on me, they were running game on me, and then another person, some phony, some suburban sissy, that's what I call him, used my likeness in the death of somebody in the punk rock scene, just like they did over in Norway in the metal scene, the black metal scene, the exact same time. But here in the United States, they play this New York breakdown, you know, hardcore, where there's like no chicks, there's just all ball caps and cargo shorts in the audience. There's no chicks going to the show. Take a listen to my songs. My songs go with the property. They're listed under the Linoleum Blown Apart. My band used to be called the Grievance Committee. I no longer care about it because they were actually ragging on me with that. They created a fake Grievance Committee. And the people from Disconnected Records think it's funny. People like Josh Barnes, if he exists. Maybe he's dead. I know Whiskey Dick Dan is dead. He's the only one who brought up Zoolander to me, to my face. Other than that, they would put it on little posters and put it up around town. Who am I? Oh my God. It's just really, truly sad, man. You know, I had never got any support whatsoever. I've always been a team player. And I know what a real, true journalist is, a true method actor is, a true embedded investigative reporter is, right? They are these things that we always thought that they were. But I know a little bit more than that. Like I was talking in yesterday's show, how come a gram of cocaine is $100? And it's been $100 since the 1970s. I'm not kidding, I go back to the 1970s, guys. Why is that? because these lines of bringing this stuff into the country and people making money off of it has never changed. And if you're gonna believe some narrative like somebody is like swallowing less than an 8-ball of coke, okay, you're gonna swallow 10 of those, that's $2,000. Like, you're gonna believe these narratives that they're showing you and telling you? Oh, I put cocaine in the stomach of a puppy and then they smuggled it over. You're gonna believe these media deep blue stories? That's on you, man. That's on you. Because if you swallow 10 of these pills, that's $2,000 worth of coke. Are you insane? You're gonna risk your life? It's gonna pop open in your stomach. You're gonna OD and die for $2,000? Like, you know, these narratives are fake. The fact is, these lines of bringing drugs into this country are the same. So you can sit here and say, blame a presidential family who was involved in Iran-Contra. Oh, they were smuggling drugs to freeway Ricky Ross. At this point in my life, I'm so maroon pilled that, you know, I don't buy much of anything. And I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life, as long as I can live and breathe, to this project. It's called Linoleum Blown Apart, okay? And so the story is, it's my story. It's me. And the songs are mine as well. And the best thing about these songs are that, number one, you don't know how I'm going to be using them. I know how I'm going to be using them and where they're going to be used. But the songs were written back in the day. And it captures that essence of those songs, right? It captures the zeitgeist of the times that they were written in, right? Right? So, anyway. Why is it when I start talking, I start getting angry? I was in such a good mood. Look, oh, it's empty. So, the main part of the story, and then there was, what was that Cameron Crowe TV show about the roadie? I really liked that, and for what I saw of it. I mean, there's so much stuff out there, you know, I can't even, I can't get a chance to watch it all. But, you know, it's inspired by stuff like that. And so, don't forget, now Walter did his original film, and it saves the studio. It's called Of Reasonable Service. It's based on a passage in the Bible. Then he gets the chance to do a second film, and it's quintessential Americana. It's noir, it's boxing, right? It's got dames, it's got dopes. And so he's able to do that. It's a masterpiece. It's a cinematic masterpiece. It comes out, you know, before Stanley Kubrick's films. It comes out, you know, or right around the time. Killer's Kiss, I think it was called. And it comes out, you know, before Psycho, because it has a Psycho shower scene, right? And with a lot of blood that you don't, you know, the blood is, you know, chocolate syrup, like like Hitchcock used, right? All right, so what am I talking about? I'm talking about a parallel life to Lionel, the punk rock kid. Now, Lionel was born on the same day as Napoleon, but Walter becomes obsessed with Napoleon because he remembers this childhood memory. Just like me seeing Phantom of the Paradise when I'm a little kid at the Ramona Theater, where there was a murder behind. And I remember this Phantom of the Paradise movie, and it's got rock and roll, and it's got, like, you know, it's got the guy who wrote the song from The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, Paul Williams. I think Paul Williams might still be alive. You know what I mean? I remember this film, and I saw it numerous times. I loved it because I was just starting to get into rock and roll. And I saw Born Losers, Tom Laughlin's film. Right? So these films, I remember this. And so this character does the same thing when he sees Abel Gant's 5-hour epic about Napoleon that he's helping his dad and his uncle watch. They're watching it together. And they had to actually build their own projector. That was the last thing that happened in New York. In case you don't know, I was a production assistant, small-time actor in New York City. I moved there just because I got sick of the punk rock scene in Detroit. I got sick of the pettiness that was going on. And I wrote my last song in Detroit. It's called What You Say. I'd love to be able to play that for you sometime. That's going into the property. It's a great song. I don't even have a copy of it because the turncoat who I went to go get all my songs from ruined my computer, $2,000. And again, you know, I just don't have much faith in the system. Like, you know, I'm not interested in suing anybody. I wasn't going to sue my wife. But anyway, so that's what happened. Was I was down in Florida, and you know, all this crazy stuff started happening after my wife left. You know, some of it was happening before, but once she was gone, that was it, man. All this crazy shit started happening, and I didn't die, and I kept going. And then I go back to Detroit, and it's like all the same stuff happening all over again. So it's just really sad. I'm being federally LARPed, and I don't know why, you know. It's just, you know, all I've ever been was a creative person. I kept my mouth shut about major drug dealers. I never said a fucking thing. You know, just to have these phonies, these no-talent hacks running around protecting media. What happens is... Okay, I'll stop with the Roy Steiner. Anyway, so, you know, it's really funny the other day, like, you know, like, my first show was at Bad Brains at Todd's, which is a gay bar in Detroit. This is where a lot of the punk rock shows were happening, at Bookies and Todd's. Everybody knows it. And it was really funny, like, you know, nobody really cared. Like, you know, everybody had multi-culty friends and friends like this. I mean, it's really just recently, because of your device, that they're starting to, you know, become so divisive, and they're really pushing this. And it's almost like the summer of love. I'd love to get a picture of it. I can't do anything creative except for my show every day. Thank you very much for watching. I got one watcher. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yay! And so at the bus stop, it's a Barbie promotion for the Barbie movie. So you have a pink bus stop. You have a lot of LGBT things going on. And it's almost like they're repeating this whole summer of love kind of thing that was going on. You know, I talk about mainly things, I talk about American things, uniquely American things. And I'm going to stay on track, okay? But I have to go back in time and talk about some things for the newbies. And I also talk about current events. And I also talk about the fact that this whole racial narrative is created, it's fake. Black people and white people don't own the United States. Most people actually hook up with people who they look like. Okay? The fact was, in Detroit, there's not many people who actually look like me. But when I went to New York, there was a hell of a lot of them. They're called Puerto Ricans. Right? And this whole racial narrative is just really, truly sad that people fall into this. And again, it's one thing if you're like friends with somebody and you're joking around and you're having a good time. Like, I thought I was friends with my friends. We are not friends. I want to state for the record. I don't care if I was in a band with you. I don't care who you are or what your name is. We got to start all over again. And I doubt either one of us is going to find the time. So anyways, that's the great thing about these songs. These songs actually go back to the 80s and the 90s. And that's why they're going to be used. And then now, I know what you're saying. You're going to say, well, where is the Smells Like Teen Spirit? Where is the Paradise City, right? You know, I'm just picking these songs. By the way, I watched the reunion of Guns N' Roses. Good for them. Of course, they have Dave Grohl come out and sing for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but it's kind of funny how the two are getting married like that, right? Because after all this time, like the way I felt back in Michigan in 04, not in 2018, when they were definitely running ops. They were running ops all the way back in 04, and I was like, yeah, all that old shit's stupid, isn't it? No, it was fresh in their minds. They actually had this narrative that like I was trying to get out of going to jail. I would have preferred to go into jail. I didn't understand what I was supposed to do in New York as far as cleaning a fucking park. To me, that was worse than jail. And I did not go because of this, that, or the other thing. I didn't go because the guy kept telling me to go home. And again, this is more than likely by design, right? So if you were going to send me to Rikers, you should have fucking sent me there. Like I said, I was never worried about it. I've been in fucking jail from here to Timbuktu. You know, between Timbuktu and Timbuktu. You see what I mean? So anyways, I like to talk about my real life because part of what you would do if I was writing my second memoir, which is based on my last name. My name's Gordon Ison, I-S-O-N. It would be called I, Son. Because my first book is called Two-Legged Animal. It's always available in the description. And I talk a little bit about my life. And Two-Legged Animal is like a precursor to what I'm writing now, almost. The idea behind Two-Legged Animal is you're supposed to read it. It's supposed to have all the lyrics to my songs. And then you're supposed to read it electronically on your device. And then you would press the button and you could listen to the song if you're reading about when I wrote it and how I wrote it and stuff like that. One of my main influences was a guy named, I can't remember his real name, Jim something, his name's Slackjaw. He was a writer, and he was a writer for New York Weekly. Okay, and, you know, when I went to New York and I got into acting, I took it seriously. I went all in. And when I left Detroit, like I said, I wrote my last song, and I sat down when I was living in New York, and I tried to write songs, and I was in a different environment. I couldn't do it. I didn't have any songs in me. Then I left, and I didn't listen to my songs for 15 years, guys. 15 years. Who could say that? The Trash Brats can't say it because they're still out there trying to peddle their garbage. The guys in fucking any other band in Michigan, we didn't hang out with the Gories. We were playing around the same time, but we were playing oi punk, the same as Green Day and Rancid. We weren't playing garage rock noise, okay? So anyway, it's going to be a little bit noisy here. I might have to move. I don't know. We'll see. So this is how my songs. So you take a look at my playlist. It's under Linoleum Blown Apart. Listen to the songs. Okay, those songs go back to the 80s, and that's what's going to happen. And it's basically the relationship between. Which side's my good side? If I could just turn my neck. If I could do my show like this, it would be great. It's basically the relationship between Lionel and Freddie, the drummer. Okay? That's really where the heart of the relationship is because it starts with those two. And Roxy shows up to play the bass, but she doesn't really play the bass. She's like Ray Manzarek. She plays the keyboard, so she plays the bass part on the keyboard. Okay, and so they play Collision Course is one of the songs they play, and then one other one, and they play it at a show. They get a show right away, like we did. They were like, Gordon, can you play The Asylum? And I'm like, yeah, we can play. And that's where Bob met the guys in Son of Sam. Sam means the government, right? Uncle Sam. And and then he left for Son of Sam, and then I was in a band called The Filth with Greg. Now, they used this is my real life. My bass player was named Greg, and he moved to Royal Oak area. I can't remember what it's called. It's a suburb right next to Royal Oak. You got Detroit, then you have this suburb, and then you have Royal Oak. And Greg moved there, and they used this tech on him, and they made it look like he had a brain aneurysm. That's why I don't believe that this guy Nathan, who I sold my my car to, I had a 65 Chrysler Newport. I sold it to him. I don't believe he died of a brain aneurysm. I don't believe it. If he did, please let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know where his grave is, and so I can go visit it myself. Okay? Because I'm not buying this. Because all these same people turned on me in 2018. So anyway, I get a little sidetracked. What do you want? I got to talk about. So I was talking about Greg, and I was in a band with him called The Filth. And so what they did is they used this tech on him. They made it look like he had a brain aneurysm. And this is what Rocco Period. He's one of the good old boys now. You understand? When we were all teenagers and we were going to the Greystone, we were all punk rock kids, and we all hung out together. We all played in bands together. right? It was like a big scene, okay. But then I come back to Michigan all these years later, and these people who weren't racist, they weren't like any of this stuff, now all of a sudden they are? It's like, oh my God, dude, like, what? What is happening? Right? All these people who are inclusive and non-divisive, they're all like they're all racist now. It's just like, what is going on? I really couldn't believe it, and it's very shameful. Again, we all changed from the 1980s. I get that. You know, we're gonna change. But the fact is that I think a lot of these people changed a little bit too much. The guys in my band are like in the good old boys club. They're all like running around acting like hillbillies and stuff now. I mean, it's really unconscionable, man. I can't believe it. So anyways, I like talking about my real life because that's what's going into this project. Not my real life after 2018, but my life before that, me and Bob working together. And that's all I need to this very day is a drummer, and I can actually write songs, and that's why my drummer turned on me. His ego can't handle the fact that he has no talent, okay? And he tried to sell me out, and that's what this kid did. And he did it at the behest of people who are associated with Disconnected Records. And it's the bands on that label. Make no mistake about it. And they just fall in line. Oh yeah, let's rag on Gordon. You know, I mean, it's just really, truly, truly sad. And even people who were in, like I said, two-tone bands and stuff like that, it's like they've lost their mind. But I know why. It is your device. It is the AI that's ascribed to you. And it is what is indoctrinating you. Okay? Now, your news feed is nothing but confirmation bias. Okay? So you're getting things that's gonna, news stories that's going to excite you anyway, because they understand what you're clicking on, right? So it kind of can adjust to that, right? So it knows what's going to trigger you, is what they say now. It's something's going to trigger you. They know it's going to trigger you. They know what is going to trigger you. I meant to say. Sometimes I misspeak because I talk so fast. Right? And what they do is they come in with an electrical shocker. Right? That's what the Clash called it, an electrical shocker. That's what it is. Okay? They actually shock you. They actually, your device connects with your neurological system. Okay? And it stimulates you. And I already explained that to you. And like I said, the bass player, so Bob went to go join Son of Sam. My bass player, I hooked up with him. And later on, like I said, in life, they used this tech on him the way they were using it on me. They came in and they stole his entire record collection. He collected toys and all this kind of stuff. His name's Greg. He was in the filth. He was in the punk rock scene. You know, his bands played at Greystone. My band played at the Greystone. The guy running the Greystone, Kerry, I remember before he got the Greystone. I remember the Filth when we played at, this is before the Grievance Committee, guys. I was in a band called The Filth, and we were switching drummers. I wanted Terry Moran. He was a natural Bill Stevenson drummer. He ended up getting murdered, but I was also toying with Mickey Quattro. That's Susie Quattro's nephew. Okay, and so the reason I was hanging out with Mickey Quattro is because he was a drug addict, just like me, right? But Terry Moran, he didn't do drugs. We just smoked weed. And anyway, so that's a true story. Terry Moran got murdered, and Mickey Quattro, I don't know whatever happened to him, and I started a new band called Grievance Committee, and we got Mikey the drummer. That was it, and the rest is history. Later on, we got the kid, Clifton, who ended up turning on me. Like I said, I don't know what happened to these guys. I don't know what happened to them, but after my divorce in 2018, here they come. It was non-stop Fed rats all through my Facebook. all in there, man. And that's why Elon Musk went to Twitter and he fired who? He fired management. These managers are Fed rats. That's what they are. And they target individuals through the app and they crank it up. And it causes serious disturbances. Serious. They crushed me, man. And it sends you to a mental institution, which I went to. Why? Because you're going to go get help. And it's amazing, just the ego on these people. That's why now I'm completely sober. And actually, you know, I want to try to work a little bit with the homeless. It would be kind of nice to actually have a job, but I doubt it. Most of it's volunteer work. That's how they get you. Whatever. I moved to LA in good faith. I'm a writer, and I'm going to be writing till the day I die. I'll be working on this project. Right? You can see how I vacillate between my project and my real life. Why? Because that's what it is. I'm putting my real life into this story. That's why it's not based on Sid Barrett. It's not based on Kurt Cobain. It's not based on any of these people. You know, the guys in Guns N' Roses who now hang out with Dave Grohl. I just saw a great Portlandia. I love Portlandia. I love Fred Armisen, okay? And I think he's very talented, that's why. Because of Portlandia, okay, specifically, man. He's able to do the show for like 10 years. I mean, just great stuff. And then you can see after the show's over, Portlandia is writ large. It's like now Fox News thinks every liberal state is Portlandia. And they are. Why? Because they're tracking and tracing us through our device. And they're monitoring us at all times through our device. Okay? Now don't forget, Stanley Kubrick's monolith was supposed to be a television screen. That's what it was supposed to be. And they kind of put the kibosh on it. Right? It was also supposed to be the tetrahedron, the four-sided triangle, which is going into my property, which is what? The very next film of Walter. Now, in case you guys don't know, stick with me all week. This is like Godzilla week. You got to watch the show every single day. I'm going to give you little clues. I don't care about my real life. I don't. It is what it is. Everything in my world is going into this property, and I don't really care. So, I mean, there's nothing you can tell me. There's nothing you can school me on, right? And there's no way you can stop me. You will see this thing get made, right? Because if you can't live down your mistakes, if you're going to be targeted by people that you know who are so passive-aggressive and so phony and can't bring it up, I mean, then we're not friends to begin with. And like I said, in Lionel's life, these friends are going to be coming and going. And one day, Freddie, it's going to be Lionel and Freddie, don't forget. Now, there's going to be other guys in the band, but, you know, look at the Foo Fighters. They've had, and Queens of the Stone Age. They've had guys come and go throughout the band, okay? The only ones who didn't are the kind of music that I played, which was Green Day and Rancid. They've had the same guys in the band, pretty much. For the most part, the entire time. And, so I'm a Lance Fredrickson guy. And, so, and the, what are they called? The Bastards or something? Anyway, so, right, so it's going to be that style of music, but it's going to be the 1980s, right? Now, take a look at Stranger Things. Look how they were able to do this series. It really took off. It was kind of like taking the kids from the 1980s. It's almost like taking the kids, you know, from every 1980s film that you saw. It was like, it was part Stand By Me and part E.T., right? And it kind of captured that essence. You can't deny that, right? With like Stephen King, Lawnmower Man. Talk about Lawnmower Man. Jesus. I don't know what you guys can hear, but it's a noisy day. I think it's Wednesday, I believe. And so they do the grounds on that day. I'll have to keep that in mind myself. So, okay, so you have this relationship between Lionel and Freddie, okay? And this relationship goes throughout the band's history up into a certain point. Now, don't forget, you have the band's life, that's only 10 years. And then you have Walter's life going at the same time. And then you have each of the films to cut to, right? It sounds complicated, but it's not. Everywhere I go, I see a Marvel Universe t-shirt. How in-depth are these universes? I don't know. Because I don't watch that stuff. If I had children like I thought I was going to, yeah, I would probably start getting into that stuff. But I'm telling you right now, if we can get this project off the ground like I know we will, I have no doubt, I'm willing to die in the streets for this fucking project. You better know that's right. And I have no problem with that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cuss. There's no kids here. It's too early. It's too early for the kids. Except for me. I'm usually in a better mood. I don't know why. I got to get a little bit more loosey-goosey. Like, I end up doing my show and I'm like, so you have this parallel, and basically you're going to see things through not just Walter's eyes, you're going to see things through Freddy's eyes. And one day Freddy's going to find himself surrounded by strangers. Completely surrounded by strangers, and he's one of the only original people. It reminds me, it's very sad, you know, I might cry because I think it's okay to show your emotions. That's why they were given to us. That's why we have them. You're not supposed to suppress it. You know? You're supposed to have balance in your life, and sometimes you get out of balance, and sometimes you want to cry, and that's okay. Sometimes you might get mad, and you might break the law. That's okay, too. Laws are so arbitrary, it doesn't even matter at this point. So, and like I said, I had to go out on the streets because I wanted to get stories, and the biggest story that I got was the fact that everything is BS. Everything is completely fabricated. They target individuals. They set people up. They create criminals. And that's the sad truth. And so that's kind of what drove me away from writing a second memoir. I don't want to tell you guys these things. I want to put it into fiction. And I started writing these fictions with stories like Lost Wages, Hidden Depths. Lost Wages, that's not even the title of it. It's actually called Over Under. I messed things up. I need a studio. I have to work. I need an office. Oh well. Does the sun shine for me? Or just for you? Does the sun shine for all of us? It seems to me it shines more brightly on others than it does for us brothers. And I mean that in the sense of class, not race. Race is fake. Right? You're gonna tell me people born in a certain part of the world are dumb and people born in another part of the world are smart? I think they just learn things a different way. And so let's get back to my story, you know, with Jeremy Cloud. Now don't forget, Walter is spending time with Jeremy Cloud. And of course, part of what I didn't tell you before, I give you something new in every episode, is that Eva comes over after the war. That's a big surprise, okay? Eva's a real person, okay? And, but they do base a character on her in Of Reasonable Service. It is based on Eva. And so she comes over and she marries Walter, obviously. Because women want guys who are successful with money. There you go. That's why I'm single right now. And it was no pleasure. The time that I spent married. Not once, not one day. It wasn't worth it. Not once, not one day. I was writing my stories and living in Michigan. I was going to school. I was going to become a counselor. because of my drug addiction throughout my life. And I'm like, man, you know, I got clean and sober. I was going to become a counselor and help people out. There was a beautiful girl I was dating who went to Macomb County Community College, and I should have stayed there. And I wish like hell I did. So it was no pleasure being married to the person I was with. It was no pleasure. So Walter is in the studio system now, and he's just spent 2 films, which is like it's guys, you're talking an 8-year chunk of the man's life. That's that's where my heart is, man. Spending 8 years being an actor and a production assistant and writing songs. I spend years doing it. Years, man. And people can't wrap their minds around it because they're so shallow and short-sighted. It's really, truly disgusting. So Walter spends 8 to 10 years with this guy, okay, making films, okay, and so, and that's quite a long time. Okay, this is like no joke. That's a chunk of his life. And in his real life, he's having kids. You know what I mean? He's having kids. He's married. And all this kind of stuff, right? Oh. We gotta roll. Yeah, I get very passionate about what's going on. Very passionate, man. Absolutely. Right? Because when I wrote Lost Wages, that's really called Over Under. It's not even called Lost Wages. When I write this, it's got pieces of my real life in it. And I was in a Las Vegas that's not there anymore. And I'm giving you a little piece of this life that I lived. Okay? So, there's that. I hope this stays up. I hope you can hear me. Oh, it's a little bad. It's a little terrible. And I don't want to get other people in. Ugh. I don't want to get other people in it. Oh, man. Oh. What I do for you guys. I hope you enjoy my shows. I come at you every single day. I have to talk very loud because I don't know what's going on with the loudness. So there's that. So we have this relationship with I got gas. I had beans yesterday. I mostly eat beans out of a can. Beans out of a can and like Little Debbie's. I get a box of Little Debbie's, and that's usually my diet. I eat canned vegetables. I try to eat as healthy as I can. But again, I'm eating on $6 per day. And this is what you get in this system. And I'm showing you firsthand what it's like to be homeless. And it's not nothing nice. And, you know, I'm not looking for a get you got you gumi, because I know in the future that all of my videos can actually be edited. And you can go through my videos and you can edit out all the times that I talked about Linoleum Blown Apart, the television series, and you can edit out all the times that I talked about my actual real life, and you can make separate videos of these, right? This is how my mind works, and I don't want my mind to ever fire off on fewer synapses. As a matter of fact, I believe that these neurological weapons called smartphones actually make you snap off. You could snap one off a lot quicker, a lot faster. That's how you're getting triggered. It's affecting your neurological system, and this is a false manipulation. I'm talking about today. I'm talking about your cell phone. I'm talking about your device. And I'm talking about if you're targeted by cancel culture. They don't understand how dangerous it is. They have no idea. It is dangerous. It melts your brain. And they got no right using this tech willy-nilly on people. Oh, yeah. And they used it on me non-stop. Just throughout the time that I was in New York. And it was just really brutal. And it's truly, truly sad, man. You know, you got beef with somebody. That's why I say have a sit down and settle it. That's why I don't believe these narratives of these morons. They're all idiots. You can sit here, you can prep all you want for this, you can prep for that, you can read up and you can study all day long. But what's gonna happen? Once you get in it, all that shit you're gonna throw the fuck away. You can read any self-help book you want. You understand? But once you get in that situation, you gotta throw it out and you gotta actually do it. And I always knew this, and that's why I said, man, I have to figure my guitar out. I have to figure these songs out. I have to figure this stuff out. Who else is going to do it? I never learned how to play scales. I never learned how to play anything. I just played. I just did it. We just went out there and did it. And I did it because of punk rock, because it said anyone could do it. I didn't have to be Eddie Van Halen. I didn't have to be Jimi Hendrix. Right? Anyway. So, as far as the story's concerned, Walter is at the point now where he's just spent 8 years with Jeremy Cloud. He spent the time it took them to write the Spangled Banner. Okay? And then they wrote Nana's Sticky Candy Dish. And Nana's Sticky Candy Dish is about a wealthy family who goes down either in a Titanic type ship or a Led Zeppelin. And they're lost. Okay? So obviously with the Spangled Banner, what happens in the end, they go around, they're finding all these dead bodies that the president's actually murdering people. They're finding them, and it's his valet, the African American guy, and it's the couple, the rich couple from across the way, and it's a couple of generals, okay, and maybe some local police guy, right? But there's going to be a trick ending, and that trick ending I got from Indiana Jones, the very first one. Now you remember when they take the Ark of the Covenant and they roll it, they store it away in a museum somewhere. Don't forget, I was an art handler. We used to do that kind of thing all the time. We didn't know what was in the crate. I was told, what did I pick up sometime? I picked up, I can't remember what the guy's name is. Da Vinci. I picked up a Da Vinci sculpture, allegedly. I don't know. I was just in Red Hook, Brooklyn, on a fucking dock somewhere, picking up a box, picking up a crate. That's it. That's all I knew. And I did that for years. You know, you're just a glorified truck driver. That's all you are. You know what I mean? Same thing when I was a production assistant. I'm a professional driver. Like I said, I can pass a drug test, any drug test. I don't care. I did drugs back when they were illegal. I could care less about that stuff. You know what I mean? So, and I made sure that I was never a felon, because I thought that voting and all that kind of stuff is important. What's important to me right now is my project. It's called Linoleum Blown Apart. It's a television series, and look at all the merch that is tied in. You not only have the songs. Now, don't forget, let's jump ahead. Let's forget all about the fact that of the punk rock series. Let's go into the rap series, okay? Now you have the films that you're gonna make, the exploitation films. Then you have the music behind it, which would be like a band like the Roots and the Fugees and this kind of like really, I don't know who the bands are now, but you know, those are the bands that were coming up when I was coming up, right? And, you know, they can create the music for these films. You have the narratives for the films that are relatively easy to see now. Look at what I was able to create with Walter. I created these films because my generation, we were watching these films You know, stuff like Pork Chops and the Who's Gal, I was watching since I was a little kid. Now, they were interesting when they came out, but, you know, fucking guy. I don't know what you can hear and what you can't hear. I'll just talk louder. I could boom my voice very loudly. I'm not really worried about it. So, right? So take a look at the stuff that I'm not involved in. I can only write one portion of it, and I have to write what I know. Okay? And these are the films that I know. The 7 films of Walter and the punk rock stuff. I lived it. And this is what I know. And so when we come together as a team, then we can expand this thing. Right? And we can grow it. And like I said, look at all the merch. Now, the best thing about merch that I wasn't able to talk about is the fact that they don't have to actually, they don't make any merch. Okay, they don't make these hoodies and t-shirts and have them sitting in a warehouse somewhere. You know how they do it now? They do it made to order. This is a game changer. Okay, made to order. So, do you see where we're going with this? Now, they have the facilities to make the stuff, but that's all they need. You don't need the room. You're not going to be making, well, let's make 1,000 linoleum blown apart t-shirts, and just in case they call in and want them, it's on demand. So when you order a linoleum blown apart t-shirt of the band, when you order the song, or not so much the song, I mean, obviously that's Spotify, blah, 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 right? You would download the song. But I'm saying, as far as the merch is concerned, the t-shirts, right? That's how everything is made now. If you wanted to buy Jeremy Cloud's drink concoction, which would be like today's protein drink, that's part mushrooms. And I'm thinking maybe we can even put in some microdose, depending on what's legal, what we can get away with. Right? Could there be enough mushrooms to stimulate the aspects of your brain? I don't know. We'll have to see, man. That's where this character is. This character is introducing this kind of stuff into the culture. And him and Walter work on these films between 1950 and whatever it is, 1955, something like that. I think A Spangled Banner comes out in 1954, and I think Nana Sticky Candy Dish comes out in 1960. So that's a good chunk of time, right? That these guys are hanging out together. And so it kind of rubs off on Walter. So what Walter has to do now, Jeremy Cloud leaves, okay? And what they do, and the generals are laughing, and the studio is like incredulous. They're just like, I don't know, man. These guys made the film. We just gave it the okay. And in this film, it is a bit of a sex romp, okay? Because you're dealing with this young girl. She's 18, right? 17. And right? And that's the big taboo of it. It comes out in 1960. It's about a 17-year-old girl who's sexually awake. And it also deals with her well-to-do family, okay? And it has a lot of aspects in it. I'm talking about their second film together. It's called Nana Sticky Candy Dish, where they have to go visit Nana. And Nana is in a mental institution. Why? Because her husband wanted to have an affair. He wanted to marry somebody else. And we've seen this story before. And so this part of this story is female empowerment, and a lot of people don't understand that. When I write stories, it could have a female protagonist. I'm sorry, I can have anybody of any proclivity be a protagonist. Because what I'm choosing is the archetype of the character, right? And it's something that could be in all of us, right? It's like this song by I think, what's it called? It's by Alice Cooper, where he says, you know, I'm a killer, I'm a clown. He starts saying all these archetype characters that he is. I think it's called like Desperado or something like that. I'm like a big fan of that kind of thing. So anyways, they created Nana Sticky Candy Dish, but don't forget that Jeremy Cloud helped him write it, right? They wrote this thing together. Sorry, I'm so close. I gotta come back again. Hello. Right? They wrote this thing together. And then Jeremy Cloud goes. He goes off puff like a puff of smoke that he was, right? He's gone. And so then Walter has to make the film. We never see Walter make any film. I'm going to say it like every single episode. We're never going to see this. Who cares? We want to see about the man's life, right? The blood, the sweat, and the tears, what he's going through, who he's hanging out with, who's talking to him, who's putting things in his ear. And then we're going to extrapolate that kind of stuff from the film itself, right? So when you watch Nana Sticky Candy Dish, which is about a girl in boarding school who loses her entire family, and she's getting ready to lose her family fortune, and the family lawyer is really working for the bad guys who are set to steal this family fortune. Now take a look at what happened with Ocean Gate. It just seems bizarre that you have Watergate and Ocean Gate and all this other stuff that they put the word gate behind. I mean, it seems like it's literally coming from gatekeepers. But you do have billionaires dying, and that was the story for Nana Sticky Candy Dish as well. Okay, which I had written before, obviously before this thing came out, right? Or this thing happened, rather. Okay, so that's what it's about. And so people begin to realize, some very powerful people begin to realize that Jeremy Cloud was really talking about himself. He was really talking about his own family. And so he does have a change of names, right? Nobody knows who he is. He's like who's the guy on CNN who's part of the Vanderbilt family, right? The guy was on TV for years, and nobody knew that he was, that he was part of this family, right? So, anyway, I might go over here. I think he kind of stopped running his machine. I'm not really sure. Whatever. Anyways, so, right? So you have... Take it easy, because I'm really getting to the part that I need to get to after Jeremy Cloud. And I always give you guys a little bit of detail. Give you detail about my life, because that's what it is when you go into a fictional project. It's pieces of your life. It's things that you thought of, and that's what I wanted to start changing. And I started doing that before Slopey got a hold of me and I moved back to New York. Okay? Putting cash for smells, spray painting that stuff didn't bother me. I was busy trying to be a father. It's like, if you want to give me tickets, if you're some obsequious Philistine, some bureaucrat, and that's your life to harass people, that's your business, man, not mine. Why? Because I'm a creative person. I took this childhood trauma that's subjective, that has nothing to do with my mother or my sisters. It's my trauma. And I took it and I turned it into something positive. By becoming a songwriter, smashing my guitar on stage like a punk rocker, being nihilistic at the age you're supposed to be nihilistic, and then moving on with my life when everybody in the scene told me, hey Gordon, we don't care about you. My girlfriend said, I don't want to be with you anymore. The guys in my band said, I don't care about what you got to say in your music, Gordon. The other people in the scene said, we're not going to put your music out, Gordon. We don't care about you. So I left. And I'm a better man because of it, and I always was. And I don't need anybody's artificial validation. I don't need your clicky, clicky, swipey, swipey, scrolly, scrolly, likey, likey for anything. But I understand what camaraderie is. And I understand what a shared experience is. A shared moment with another individual. And I also understand, don't think of an elephant in your pajamas when you got some punk, phony. Punk meaning lesser than. See, people like to throw around words and they don't even know where they come from. Okay? So, calling someone a punk actually comes from a Chinese word. And it means you're a greenhorn. That means you have to tend to the fire. You're the younger one.
You have to tend to the fire. It's your obligation to make sure the fire doesn't go out. Okay? Because we have to stay warm at night. And when we wake up in the morning, we don't want to have to make a fire. We want to use the embers from the fire that has already been made. So you make that fire and you make it good and you make it to where it's going to burn all night. That's what it means. So, anyways, the first time I saw the word punk, it was in John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. That's why they called him a punk. And that's why it became a derogatory term, because it just means somebody who might let that fire go out. You're so dumb. You're such a greenhorn. You're so green. You're going to let that fire go out. Don't you let that fire go out. And that's what it means. It means the burning ember. You have to tend to that fire, son. Why? Because I'm old and I'm tired. And I already had my turn tending to the fire. Capiche? Okay. So now Jeremy Cloud, like a cloud, he's disappeared. Walter makes the film. Not a sticky candy dish. And some major families are getting angry. They're like, you just gave away this huge secret that we've been trying to keep secret. What did I say about Randolph Hearst? Was it William Randolph Hearst? And Orson Welles. It's the same thing, guys. He does the same thing as Orson Welles with his Rosebud film. I'm sorry, I can never remember the title of this film. In case you don't know, you can see I can do my show extemporaneously off the top of my head. And that's why I forget stuff. Yeah. I'd like to be in a little bit better mood, but I get passionate. You can see it. I don't take things personally. I don't care about any of these old people from the punk rock scene in Detroit. Why? Because they told me years ago they didn't care about me. They told me years ago. All right, cool, man. No worries. And they keep telling me over and over and over and over again. Right? It's the same thing with my family. It starts when you're young, and they tell me that over and over. Gordon, you're incompetent. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. Right? Okay, cool. No worries. Have a good life, ladies. I did the best I could. I got $20,000 from COVID, and I spent $5,000 cleaning up my parents' house, and I was glad to do it. I was happy to do it. They helped me buy my car, which I didn't want, but like a good son, I acquiesced to my mother, who was just way too dominant. I'm not sure why. She learned the English language years ago, that she refuses to have a conversation with people, but she does. And I went along with that while my brain was fried, and while people that I knew and I played in bands with were laughing about it. They thought it was hilarious, including, yeah, whatever. So, Walter makes the film, and he gets the ire of a lot of people. But guess what's coming in, right? Guess what he has to do next? Next, he's going to do Scorpius XL. That's going to be tomorrow's show. I'm sorry I repeat myself a lot, and I talk about my own hurts and my own things, but that's part of what we have to do to tap into my subconscious. And by tapping into my subconscious, we can tap also into the collective unconscious, right? And that's how I can deconstruct these stories from the whatever you want to call it, these fake narratives from over the years, right? And again, I usually have better shows when it's look out, you guys see how cloudy it is out here, right? Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Tomorrow we're gonna start up with Scorpius XL. Okay, I am Maroon Pilled. Okay, I don't believe one narrative coming from these sophists, right? Take a look at the dialogues with Plato between Socrates and these sophists, right? And what a sophist is, what I consider him, as somebody with a priori thinking. It's all inductive reasoning, and I call it navel gazing. And what they do is they only You can only extrapolate on certain books and certain ideas. You can't go outside of the academic mainframe. And we can see this academic mainframe completely falling apart, completely disassembling itself. We can see this scam of academia as being in conjunction with the banks, getting kids into debt, getting them into student loans, having all these problems. Like I said, when I OD'd, I thought I owed the bank $10,000. Then I bettered my life to try to become a counselor, a drug counselor, because I already lived through it, and I figured that's the best thing that I could do. I go back to school, I don't even have an associate's degree, and I'm $17,000 in debt. Right? So we know that there's some kind of strange scam going on. And we know that through NATO, that they're destroying all of this whole NATO thing. They're destroying all these old weapons that they have. That's why they're burning them out. They have to use up all these weapons in this war, okay? And then they're going to do what? They're going to rebuild, okay? So this is a playbook that goes back all the way back to World War II. You destroy that whole area, and then you rebuild it. And that's what they're doing in the Ukraine right now. Of course, back in my day, we used to be just anti-war. That's all we were, right? And then you have ideas about being isolationist, where you're just saying, hey, man, why is America getting involved in this war in the first place? Why are we involving ourselves in this war, right? And again, you have these proxy wars that are being fought. Like Vietnam was a proxy war for China, right? That's they openly said, hey, they're getting all their weapons from China. They're getting their manifestos and their ideology from China. When we know that Chairman Mao actually went to Yale. He didn't go to Yale proper. He went to an offshoot of Yale. And that's where he got this, his education. Okay? And you can see that communism is a little bit more writ large now. And just some of the ideas. And you can also see that it's combined with capitalism to create a new type of socialism, which is what we're going into. And that's what I said on my show. I like to speculate about where we're heading with all of this, right? Why is Elon Musk going to fight Musk the Tusk? Because he's the walrus. He's going to be rolling around. and Zuckerberg are going to fight. Well, I know why. And I told you guys right here on this show. It's because of these Fed rats that he got rid of at Twitter. He got rid of them, and right, that were targeting individuals through this app, and it is horrendous. I actually survived it. I lived through it, but I'm not going to run around calling myself a victim. Okay? If someone wants to sue somebody on my behalf and break me off a piece, that's their business. Okay? So don't frame it like I'm suing somebody. I would never sue anybody. I would never think to sue anybody because I'm a kid from the streets. I don't care. I don't need your money. But I appreciate your time, which is more valuable. Thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.